Disposable income is perhaps the best measure of our standard of living. And what these bars are showing you, going all the way back to 1955 here, is just how much it has grown over the course of the last few decades. And so what you can see here, anything above the line means we're getting better off, anything below the line means we're getting worse off. And just look, those years where we're getting better off are far, far more common than the years where we're getting worse off. There's only a few of these red bars there. You can see a few there, that's the financial crisis. But here's the thing I want you to note, and if we kind of like zoom out, you can probably see that bar there, that is the deepest fall that we've ever seen in our disposable incomes. If we just kind of come out, you can see that's lower than any other period that we've got, all going all the way back since the beginning of this kind of, the start of this series, which is a long time. It's the kind of the post-war period. And here's the striking thing, unless the Chancellor hadn't done what he's done today, this is what the Office of Budget Responsibility has said, that bar would have been even deeper. So he has reduced it somewhat, but he hasn't reduced it as much as he perhaps could have and as much as some people might have liked. And the upshot is that you're seeing a very big fall. And this is coming outside of a recession, so very striking indeed. And what's the main cause for that? Well, it's worth just looking at some of the other numbers that we've had from the Office of Budget Responsibility, starting with inflation. Inflation is obviously the one big number that really kind of encapsulates what we're going through right now. Costs are going up. Inflation is this measure of how much the average shopping basket of goods is going up each year. Last time around, so in October, the OBR, the Office of Budget Responsibility, thought costs were going up by about 4% a year. That was already really high, double the 2% you'd normally get. That's the Bank of England's target. But just look at how that bar's gone up today. We'll add a red one on showing you today's bar. Wow, it is up by basically more than double, or almost double, I should say. But that is, an enormous increase. It's the biggest since the creation of the OBR. We're going to see the highest level inflation that we've seen going back generations, and that all goes into our pockets. And that's the issue that the Chancellor is facing, is how can he deal with that, and what kind of policies can he introduce that will actually make that a little bit better? And the question there, when it comes to those policies and just how much of a difference they're going to make, is what kind of impact are they going to have? Here you can see it in fiscal terms. This is just the amount of money that either is kind of going into the exchequer or coming out. Anything below the bar shows that he's spending money to try to provide extra cash for people. And you can see that in this year that we're in at the moment, the one that we're going into, that's your fuel duty, that's national insurance kicking in there. And then there's smaller giveaways in the future years. But as I was saying, it's nothing to compensate for what we saw for what we're experiencing this year. The biggest fall in our standard of living that we have really ever seen, going all the way back to 1955. So yes, Sarah Jane, it is grim, I'm afraid. And the only kind of reassuring news is that were it not for some of the the policies we've seen for the Chancellor, things might have been a little bit worse. But frankly, he could have potentially done more. So some big questions remaining for the Chancellor, and indeed we will see what he says and how he justifies this, and we'll also get a sense from the OBR as to what the implications are for the rest of us.